Hello there, men, and welcome to the Masculinism Movement channel, a place for men to be men and talk about masculinity and men's issues. I'm your host, Brian Krall, and today I'm going to be mansplaining to you a little bit about what the difference is between a man's versus a woman's word. Women and men tend to use words and language very differently, in case you haven't noticed. A man's word is his bond. A woman's word is meaningless. That's why when a man says he is going to do something, he does it. When a woman says she's going to do something, does she? I don't know. I'm asking you, does she? She hasn't yet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. When a man says something, he means it. When a woman says something, she may mean it or she may mean something else. A man is supposed to live by a code of ethics. A woman lives by lies, manipulation, and deceit. A man's words and actions will generally be aligned and congruent. A woman's will oftentimes say and do two completely different and opposing things. Men use words realistically. Women use them idealistically. That is, men use words to describe reality. Women use words to attempt to alter the listener's perception of reality to fit what the woman wants to see it as. When a man says he is going to do something, he does it regardless of how he feels. When a woman says she's going to do something, she waits until she feels like doing it, if that is ever going to happen at all. When a man makes a promise, he will generally keep it. When a woman makes a promise, she's doing so based on the optimism of her thought processes at the moment. She's thinking to herself, sure, I could do that. So I'll just bring it up and use the situation by promising to do it. So they make promises they cannot keep and have little intention of keeping, but feel good about the possibility of and about bringing into conversation at that time. It is like when a drunk person does things they will regret in the morning. They aren't thinking about the future. They are thinking about what feels good in the now. And women know that often they can get what they want now by promising things for the future. So women will often make promises they can't keep, as well as vows and oaths. Because you see, they don't really understand the concepts of things like promises and vows and oaths. They think it's more a question of possibility. They're saying that they could imagine a future in which that happens. They're saying, yes, that is very well possible. But nothing is definite because women's words are based upon their feelings at the time, and their feelings change over time. So when a woman breaks a promise to you and you call her out on it and say, hey, you can't do that, you promised you wouldn't. Or, hey, you didn't do this and you promised you would. And you tell her she is breaking her promise to you, she'll say, I'm not breaking my promise, I just don't feel like doing it yet. Because again, everything's about her feelings at the moment. Or she'll say, I haven't broken your promise, I just feel differently now, so things have changed. Because again, if their feelings change, their sense of reality changes. And they expect it should for everyone else too. So women's commitments and obligations are all meaningless. Because if she doesn't feel up to it later, she's simply not going to do it. When it comes to law, a man generally needs to prove himself innocent beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. A woman, however, doesn't. When she is facing a man in court, it is generally his word against hers. And women want you to believe their word no matter what. Even though women can and do lie on protection orders, lie on the witness stand, and lie in general in the legal system without the fear of prosecution because they do not get in trouble for lying. They do not get charged with perjury when they do. So a woman's word in the justice and the whole political system is actually a weapon. A man's word, however, isn't even enough to defend himself from this weaponry. Women can use their words to hurt others, which is interesting because they're the ones claiming that words are a form of violence, which is why they should be censored so that words which are violence can't be used against women to hurt them. But women are constantly using their words destructively against men to do things like damage a man's life in court or even destroy him and bring him into ruin. or break down a man's sense of identity, and just tear him apart emotionally. So it seems that women claim words are violence because they are the primary form of violence that women know about and know how to use and will employ against us, which they are very skilled at. That is really the only use of language that they really do seem to have a mastery of. So you can't have an intellectual or intelligent conversation with them about anything. But when it comes down to, socio-political manipulation and warfare through the use of words, that is something they are quite adept at. And when it comes to our social lives and how we actually, use words and language and communication in them, men tend to communicate when they have important information to exchange, and women tend to communicate primarily for recreation purposes of, gossiping and socializing for no other reason than to just be social, right? Even if they don't have anything to discuss. When it comes to relationships with each other, men tend to do all the communication work, whereas women tend to communicate very unclearly. Because again, men's words have meaning and women's words are meaningless. So that is the difference between a man and a woman's word. And that concludes this talk. I hope I mansplained that well enough for you guys out there. Thank you for listening, and be sure to share your own thoughts and opinions on how men and women use words differently by commenting below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. Share these messages with everyone by sharing the video on social media and talking about these things. And lastly, check out the links in the description below for other resources for your masculine personal development and living the life you want to as an independent man. And if you can afford to donate, please do so with the PayPal link below, because your support funds me doing this work and fighting the good fight for men like you. And speaking of the difference between a man and woman's word, you can look forward to the next video coming out soon, which will be on the relativity of consent. And make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified when that is. And until then, take care of yourselves, men, because no woman out there is going to.